Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 9 of season 2 of our F1 2010 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend back for the European Grand Prix in Valencia, of course. If you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from Montreal, I was rather rusty on F1 2010. I did read your comments though, from that video, I should say. A few of you guys were worried that I'd given up with this series. No, absolutely not. Map 2 and 2 Retro, this might be the most fun I'm having with any F1 game at the moment as well. So, this career mode is not going anywhere. I promise you that. We're going to be trying to win the World Championship on this game. And then, well, obviously we'll be moving on to F1 2011. But I'm really hyped for like 2012, 2013, and then like 2016 through 2021 as well. I am very excited for. So, I mean, as I've mentioned before in a couple of videos, we've probably got about 4 or 5 years worth of content just from trying to win championships on these older F1 games as well. And, well, of course, obviously starting things out with F1 2010, how are we looking in this championship? Now, annoyingly, if you watched that video from Canada, I obviously finished off the recording, everything like that, went to leave the Montreal weekend, and the game completely crashed. So, I did try and restart it, of course, where we didn't score points, and Alonso didn't score points. I basically went back in, I took us both out on lap 1, but the standings are slightly different to what they were from that weekend. So, we've still got a 12-point lead at the top of the table. Jenson Button, though, is up in P3, just ahead of Felipe Massa and Lewis Hamilton there. So, Vitantonio Liuzzi down to P6, ahead of Adrian Sutil and Robert Kubica. Sebastian Vettel still in P9, ahead of Mark Webber now in 10th spot there, with Michael Schumacher down in P12. Further down the order, though, I don't think there were too many other major changes. Of course, a few drivers will have gained some points from it. A few drivers might have lost out on some points as well. But it is still Lucas Di Grassi, the only driver yet to score. Constructors-wise, though, Ferrari 13 clear of McLaren. We are still in P3, 13 points clear of Force India. Red Bull, they are steadily recovering in P5. They've got a 6-point buffer now ahead of their engine supplier, Renault. But yeah, without further ado, though, let's head here to Valencia. Get yourself subscribed. We're getting very close to 3K. But hopefully, we can try and return to the podium. Hello? What on earth is going on there? Heading straight into qualifying then here from Valencia, and well, apparently I'm inside Pedro de la Rosa, which, I'll be honest, not something I really wanted to say, whether it be in this game or in any other context, to be completely honest with you all. But yeah, once again though, I know I mentioned this last season, I actually really like this track. I find it really good fun. Maybe it's better in this game than it ever was IRL. Perhaps I need to try it out on like a Assetto Corsa or something like that. But I'd be really interested to see how this circuit would work with modern F1 machinery as well. So maybe that's an idea for a video that I need to do at a certain point as well. But as always, then heading into Q1, hopefully it's not going to be much of cause for concern. I mean, we've pretty much always been on pole position this season, and I don't want that to stop today. Does though look like the AI pretty good in the straight line though. I've tried to tweak the gearing slightly to give myself a bit of a better chance. But of course, you know, qualifying often actually gives us a good idea as to just how quick the AI are. Not based on their actual lap times, but just going around the track. While making our way then down in towards the final couple of corners. Rubens-Barrichello is at a 1:43.9 so far. Petrov goes thousandths of a second quicker. We should be able to go comfortably faster than that. 43.3, 6/10 up, but there's definitely a lot more time to find in the car. Well, if I remember correctly, last season's race here, we ended up finishing in P4, but it was chaos. So many cars crashing out and retiring from that Grand Prix. Is all talking of crashing. I think Hulkenberg's just ran into the back of me down at the final corner, but Vettel's at a 41.9. We do a 41.7. There we go. That's the improvement that I wanted. Well, there we go then. It looks like McLaren are going to be the team to beat this weekend. Hamilton on 140.7. Jenson Button just a tenth away. Sebastian Vettel, though, almost 9 tenths back in P3 there. So definitely going to have our work cut out if we want to try and get pole position here. Are there any surprises, though, Q1? Nope. Looks to be exactly the same 7 cars as we saw out in Q1 last weekend. Well, I've spoke about this as well a few times this season. It feels like, in terms of raw speed, there is no difference between the Prime and the option tyre inside this game. Obviously, the Prime tyre will go probably 2-3 times as far into a Grand Prix, but it's just so much of a better tyre on this game. It's kind of quite hilarious. Out of the final corner, though, that is going to be a 141.2. That means we split the McLarens. Well, there we go then. We might be the only driver able to hold a candle to Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button, but ultimately, so far, I just do not see a way in which we are going to find another 3/4 of a second here. Maybe this is a weekend McLaren is set to dominate. I mean, myself and Fernando Alonso once again proven ourselves to be the best of the rest. Kobayashi out though, Viantonio Liuzzi and Adrian Sutil are also out there, so a couple of shockers out in Q2. Both Renaults making it through this time round, along with your big 4 teams. With it being such a long lap then around this circuit, it is going to be quite difficult to get many runs in, as Button already has set a benchmark of a 140.9. I don't quite know how he's been able to do that, because I've basically gone, immediately in Q3 there, but immediately a little wobble down at turn 1. I mean, ultimately, yeah, if we get pole, it's going to be huge. Sensibly, though, I want to start 3rd. Let me just take a moment to appreciate as well. Now the sun is shining here in Valencia. This looks absolutely stunning. I wish I was here at the moment. Much better weather than what we normally get here in the UK, but down towards the final couple of corners, I've got qualifying 3 to deal with, rather than admiring the weather around a circuit that does not look like this anymore. Very, very defunct is this Valencia track, but yeah, Fernando Alonso only good enough for P6 right now, but with that mistake, we slot in right behind our big title rival. Much tidier through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 that time round, so let's try and really ramp this up. Well, there we go, that's a good amount of time found by the end of Sector 2, 8 tenths to the goods, but we are still over a second off the pace of a Jenson Button. Sector 3 though, I think we've been setting some good benchmarks right the way through this weekend, so hopefully we can try and get one more good one on the board. Less than 5 minutes left on the clock as you throw it through that final right-hander before you're on the anchors through the left. Nice and tidy up over that outside curb. It is going to be a 141.6. We go P4, but still 7 tenths away from fastest. Well, there we go then. Unfortunately, unable to find any more time by the end of qualifying. Jenson Button on the pole, but Sebastian Vettel did split the McLarens in the end, so fair play to him. Hamilton will line up 3rd. Alonso, annoyingly, able to go quicker than myself as well. So I think, yeah, that's our 2nd worst qualifying session of the year after Barcelona. But yeah, still in P5 though, so far from the end of the world. Now we've just got to hope for some chaos in the race. Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the European Grand Prix. And with Button on the pole, is he about to bring himself into world title contention? 5 red lights are on, and it is lights out. Oh, and away we go there, off to a fairly clean and tidy getaway. No real surprise, Felipe Massa with that inside line is going to jump past me on the run in towards turn 1. Can we have a look back around the outside of him? Vettel was taking the lead of the Grand Prix as Massa, I thought then for a split second, might try and put me in the outside wall. Can we go all the way back around his outside though through turn 3? Oh, a little bit of contact with the Ferrari, but both of us not afraid to get the elbows out then off the start of this race. So Sebastian Vettel, a huge move up to P1 then, after McLaren look to be the team to beat so far this weekend. Oh, a little bit of curb through there, but everybody just trying to find their way through these first few corners. Looks like everybody's kept it fairly clean and tidy as they make their way up over the bridge. Well, I'm going to try and put the car into rich revs then. Like I said, obviously, JB and Lewis Hamilton have been picking up some points recently, where Fernando Alonso and I have just been faltering slightly, and with Felipe Massa trying to apply some pressure as well just behind. Who knows how this championship fight could end up as we head in towards the second half of the season there. A little bit of a wobble from Fernando in front. Are we going to be able to get a run as we make our way down this back straight? Of course, we've got a couple of long flat-out sections here in Valencia. Oh, and Alonso very, very early on the brakes then, down at the hairpin, not quite able to go the long way around him. As we head then into Sector 3, this is where this Mercedes has been very, very good all weekend, trying to apply the pressure to the home hero here. I'm sure everybody around this circuit will want to see Fernando Alonso do well. They will not want to see this, though. Down the inside we go at that final turn as Hamilton, in all the commotion, seems to have jumped back past Sebastian Vettel. So it is still McLaren leading come the end of lap 1. But your top 3 in the championship, 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment. Of course, not running in that order, but these are the guys that I really need to try and outscore. So we're going to keep trying to apply pressure to Jenson Button and see if we can find a way around him. Jenson Button very, very early on the brakes down at turn 1, turn 2 that time round. And are we going to be able to capitalise as we make our way through the chicane squad? Sector 1, a little bit of contact there with JB, as I thought he might try and back out of it on the outside, but not quite doing so. Controversial contact then early on in this race, but we've got to get the elbows out. The AI, they will quite happily do the same thing against us. But already Hamilton and Vettel, this feels a bit more like Season 1, those two trying to scamper away up at the front of the order. Button, though, still hanging on to that P4, so he will try and look for a way back past us if he feels he can find one. But we'll be very, very interested to see what his speed's going to be like over the next couple of laps there, as, I mean, that McLaren, we know with the F-duct, it is stupidly quick in a straight line. Not quick enough that time round, though. They still have a little bit of fuel economy, a kind of nervousness, or anxiety, I think is probably the best word to use, after what we saw back in Barcelona a few races ago. So I haven't been leaving the car on rich revs throughout the entirety of some Grand Prix. And, well, you can already see Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton are long gone up at the front of the order then. So the German and the McLaren man, of course, first half of the season really has not gone their way. Hamilton's still not that far out of touching distance of the World Championship lead. But Sebastian Vettel is going to need a huge turnaround if he wants to try and become a back-to-back Formula 1 World Champion. But at the moment, though, I said this weekend I wanted a podium. That is exactly where we are running. Oh, there we go. I think that is Vettel then immediately into the pit lane at just the end of lap 5. So that is a very, very early call. Fernando Alonso, though, has done the same. So I've got to be careful of a potential undercut coming out in the next few laps. How now am I able to run a 140.2? Where was that pace in qualifying? Well, the pace against Lewis Hamilton seems to be fairly decent here at the moment, but I am just worried about what Alonso and obviously Sebastian Vettel are going to be able to do, as Hamilton, I believe now, is also... Is he into the pit lane? No, he's not. Just thought for a moment there that he ran a little bit wide through that final corner. I guess the saving grace would be if Vettel and Fernando are both doing a 2-stop. And of course that would mean they are way down the order. But I wouldn't rely on it. Well, the team had set me originally to go on to another set of the options. I don't know if that's just kind of when you have a look at the MFD, whether it tweaks it around a bit. But maybe the AI are 2-stopping then here. We're going to peel in at the end of this lap. Oh, but onto a set of the prime tyres. Make sure I don't do what I did last weekend out in Montreal. But it's safe to say this set are feeling rather second-hand. I mean, look at those fronts. They are obliterated, and apparently the rears are even worse then as Hamilton dives into the pit lane. Not really too sure what the line is on the way in. But make sure I get this car on the brakes nice and early. That might be one of the weirdest pit stops I've ever seen. That did not feel like 4 seconds. I don't know what to make of that one. But either way, we're heading back out then onto the circuit. And you've got to leave the pit lane exit speed limiter line way, way too late. Otherwise, you're going to get penalised here as well. But we're up to P9 then in this Grand Prix. I don't quite know where Lewis is, but that felt like an insanely quick pit stop. I guess the only other one is I don't know where Fernando Alonso is in this Grand Prix. He's either way ahead or way behind. Oh, we got yellows. We got yellows. Seems to be a potential incident then heading over the bridge. It seems to have sorted itself. That looked like a Red Bull front wing. But did I just see a McLaren in there as well? Oh, we got another one stopped. Liuzzi. Liuzzi's lost his wheel. That all basically came out of nowhere, it felt like. That was very, very weird. I guess we're back up, though, into 7th spot, then, in this Grand Prix, as it's Hamilton just in front of me. So, I think Hamilton and Seb, then, may be beginning to struggle just a little bit more. But I don't know where Alonso is. More cars into the pit lane, then, as Mark Webber now has moved to the lead of this Grand Prix. So, where are we going to be? 4th spot, then, if I'm not mistaken here. So, Fernando Alonso, I don't believe is ahead of me. I think it's a Red Bull 1-2. And then, yeah, Hamilton in P3. So, obviously, Mark Webber still needing to pit, but this is working out quite nicely. Is that a Red Bull? It looks almost could be a BMW Sauber. I got no idea what's going on. Maybe Vettel's out of this Grand Prix. It's all very confusing. Either that or he had to pit again from that front wing damage, but I said it last season, Valencia was carnage. It might be going the same way again. We close in then on half distance here. I must admit, I really don't know what Mark Webber's pace is going to be like. There we go, he's in. And so is the car in P2, so at least that takes an element of the mystery out of that as well. And I was right, it was a BMW Sauber car in the pit. So up then into 2nd spot we go. Mark Webber is not that far behind. Neither is Fernando Alonso, who's back up to P5. So I'm ahead of both my two big rivals. And honestly, I'm kind of hoping the second half of this race is really boring. We don't really have the speed to close in on Lewis. But we do have the speed to keep Jensen at bay, as long as I don't make any mistakes. Well, there you go, Hamilton still trying to push on up at the front of the order, but yeah, I mean, we're running mid-140s pretty reliably at the moment, and Hamilton found about 3 seconds on me in that last lap. So once again, the AI's pace, once they get out in front of you, is completely uncontrollable. Like I said, I guess the only question, though, still is, will Lewis have to pit again? If he does, there is a win definitely on the cards. But every couple of laps, we seem to inch away from Jensen Button, kind of get some of that pressure off my shoulders, and then pretty much as soon as I start relaxing again, I'm not getting slower, JB will then try and ramp up the speed once more. Lewis Hamilton, though, is absolutely gone towards the end of the afternoon, and this is definitely one thing that I feel that a lot of people forgot with F1 2010. Yes, the nostalgia of this game is incredible, but it was also hilariously broken. The way it just makes up AI lap times still is worse than what you get in the modern F1 games, with them not kind of simulating tyre wear or ERS management or anything like that. On this game, they're just not simulated at all. It just makes it up as it goes along. So, I mean, we are trying to hang on at the moment, and a win for Lewis is surely well overdue as well for him this season. I know he's had 1 so far. I think back in Shanghai, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he will be looking for a 2nd and really wants to try and start building some world title momentum. Oh, no, big moment down at the end of the back straight, and that Jensen Button, he will say thank you very much then. I mean, luckily this is probably the one part of the lap where I feel comfortably quicker, so we might just be able to find a way back around JB before the end of the lap there. But like I said, whoa, hello. Button braking way earlier than I was expecting him to down to that final corner, and actually completely extends the exit of the circuit as well, as we are seeing a couple of cars into the pit lane then. That's Fernando Alonso that's peeled back in, so bit of an odd one then for Fernando, but I guess that means hopefully we're going to be outscoring him by a big haul of points this afternoon. We get back past JB as well there with a decisive move back at turn 2, but there is still a slim chance then that Hamilton might pit before the end. Oh, we've got yellows. We've got yellows behind. I think that's Button. Jensen Button now with an issue. What on earth is happening late on in the day then? Fernando Alonso peeling in. Jensen Button now suddenly struggling as well, with just a handful of laps to go. So I don't know if he's hit a wall or what's gone on. This is Valencia. It could be a rather weird little circuit on this game, but both of my closest World Championship rivals then clearly in trouble late on in the afternoon. And suddenly Felipe Massa back up to P3. Well, now I'm starting to get a bit nervous then. Fuel warning light has just come on with 3 laps still to go. I brought the car down to cruise, but I'm so nervous that we're going to run out of fuel before the end of this GP. Another race here in Spain where fuel mileage might make the difference in the end. I have not run rich revs all day. I have run it through big portions of the race, but not through all of it. And well, please don't tell me our HRT was more economical than this Mercedes. Oh no, the fuel's dipped down to red. That's not good. I think that normally means you've got about a lap's worth left, and we've got well over a lap still to go of this Grand Prix. Are we about to reach another disappointing climax to a race here? Lewis Hamilton, 15 seconds up the road. He is comfortable up at the front of the order, and now I'm getting so nervous about what's going to happen with the tank. I mean, I don't even know if LICO will work on this game or anything like that, but one more lap to go. We are just trying to coast the car around at the moment, try to make sure that we are able to get to the end and pick up some big, well-needed points against so many of our title rivals. Felipe Massa really trying to hound us now, see if he can try and find a way through, but we are still trying to just hang on to this second spot as well. I mean, with no fuel calculator, with no kind of information about fuel mileage, it is so difficult to kind of work out how the car's going, and we're out! I cannot believe it. We are spluttering around. I don't know if the tank will kind of, whether it will completely go or whether we'll still be able to coast round, but I cannot believe what we are seeing here in Valencia. Last season, I was able to run the car in rich revs basically all the time. This season, in a much better car, we are not able to do it. Massa's going to go through. Webber's going to go through. Robert Kubica as well might be able to find a way around us as we make our way down the back straight. He's not actually going around me yet. I don't believe I can hang on ahead of him. But I guess if I can make the car wide enough, then I'm certainly going to try it. But I cannot believe what we are seeing yet again in this series there. Our podium is going to completely evaporate on this very last lap. We've got nothing left. We've got absolutely nothing left. Alonso's gone. I cannot believe the amount of bad luck we are seeing inside this game at the moment. We're down to P7. It looks like Alonso and Button are going to outscore us at this rate. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it round to the checkered flag, as maybe other drivers beginning to struggle on fuel as well. Hamilton, though, he is going to claim the Grand Prix victory. I've just got to try and keep the speed up as we make our way through some of these corners there, because now we're going even slower. Jenson Button closing in behind me as well, so it might well mean that Hamilton takes the lead of the Drivers' World Championship, as Button will fly around my outside. I got no idea where Rubens Barrichello is. What am I meant to do, engineer? What am I meant to do towards the end of this race? I really thought we'd nailed this one. We got it right. We hadn't made any major errors. We kept it clean and tidy. But once again, the fuel RNG of this game is going to completely screw us. We are going to still score, I think, at least 2 points here. As maybe Rubens Barrichello, we can try and hang on. Ahead of the Williams. No, we can't. P9 here in Valencia.
Well done, good drive. That's 9th place in the bag.
Well, there we are then. A heartbreaking end to this afternoon's running there. Lewis Hamilton claims the victory ahead of Felipe Massa and Mark Webber. Robert Kubica in P4. Kamui Kobayashi, a great drive to 5th ahead of Alonso, Button, Barrichello, myself, and Adrian Sutil there, rounding out your top 10. Timo Glock narrowly misses out on a point, and then you can see just ahead of both of the HRTs and the Toro Rossos, as Vianzio Liuzzi, Michael Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel, Vitaly Petrov, and Pedro Della Rosa, all failing to see the checkered flag. What does that do to the World Championship? Well, somehow, I mean, look at that. We are 3 points ahead of Felipe Massa, 6 points ahead of Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, and 11 points now ahead of Jenson Button. So both Ferraris and both McLarens now right in the mix. And I tell you what, Felipe Massa, in these last few races especially, he has been the epitome of consistency there. Viantonio Liuzzi still ahead of Kubica and Sutil. Mark Webber now back ahead of his teammate Sebastian Vettel as well, with Kamui Kobayashi in a Red Bull sandwich. Michael Schumacher still down in P12, and it's still Lucas Di Grassi, the only driver yet to score a point. Constructors-wise, Ferrari now 8 points clear of McLaren. We are still in a very distant P3, just ahead of Force India and Red Bull, but we need to try and do something. There's so many bad races recently in this series. We've got to try and get back to where we were at the start of the season. I can't use rich revs anymore. I'm going to have to leave the car in standard. It might cost us some raw pace, but ultimately, that's kind of irrelevant if we can't finish races. Thank you all so much for watching nonetheless. If you did enjoy, leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will return next time out, I believe, for the British Grand Prix.